the patience and the shock.
And the... Oh, damn it! We were going so well!
What's up, Legends? Welcome to another episode of Week of Legends. I'm your host, Chobra. He's the Aussie we have all come to love, rocking that faux hawk, a Pokemon addict, but most importantly, an LCK boomer. It's the one and only Atlus. How you doing, Atlus?
Yeah, pretty good, Chobra. How are you?
You know, I'm just here to talk about some LCK. We've had some good action in weeks 1 and 2. I am wondering, how are your expectations so far for the summer split?
Well, I'm just excited that there's more kills in this particular season. Summer has already started shaping up much better than spring. I feel like we've got a bit of a boot up the bum of a lot of our LCK players. Some inspiration has come, one could say, from the LPL after MSC, and it's only doing good things for the level of play here in the LCK. Looking forward to what the rest of the season's going to bring.
All right, well, let's not waste any more time and actually jump right into the action from this past week's matches.
And at number 5, so full disclosure, Chovy didn't know that he was going to kill him here.
Right.
We actually saw the mic check afterwards, and Chovy's like, I don't think he's dead. And then he looks back and he's like, all right, no, don't worry, we got this on lockdown. But I like to think that he knew the entire time.
Oh my God, it's Chovy, the most calculated ever.
I remember on broadcast we stated Chovy had this calculated.
Yeah, I mean, you have to believe in that. And of course, while he admitted that he may not have had full faith, he knew when to back off, and it resulted in a kill, so who can blame him?
And so that's number 5, where Chovy decides the cool guys do not need to look at explosions. And coming in at number 4, yeah, definitely great clip of the week. I think this was a bit of a whoopsie, a miscalculation of the amount of years that Hybrid had in his back pocket there by Ruler.
Yeah, when we get to see really SP at their full potential.
Exactly, which is Ixu the cheerleader. In the end, it's all about cheerleader Ixu and what he can do to carry his team from the top lane miles away from the actual action. And 1 + 2 = 3. This was the quintessential surprise, there's a mouse in the brush.
And while this one didn't result in all the kills and ending the game, he does bring it back again in the later part of the game.
This is a guy that was struggling at the beginning and then comes up completely clutch in back-to-back team fights.
Yeah.
This is not like there's some extra time in between. This is one team fight, cooldown comes back up again and kills everyone again.
Oh, jeez. Just the whole patience and the setup.
Nogari's Cannon is a thing to behold, but this was definitely a shock for Gen.G. And surfing his way into number 2, it's BDD with back-to-back-to-back perfect Weaver's Wall.
This is another impressive one from BDD, bringing out a champion that sometimes is a little iffy to make work.
Exactly. I mean, the day before, we saw it fail in the hands of Haru, but today, BDD made it look easy.
And as you mentioned, back-to-back-to-back, that is impressive that you can just change the map so many times.
Exactly, and the consistency that he had to just completely dominate fight after fight gives him an easy number 2 position in these rankings. And to no one's surprise, in number 1, we have T1.
This is just impeccable team play coming out from T1.
Yeah, and pincer maneuvers are actually really hard to make work, but efforts set up at the beginning of this play, absolutely fantastic. And the icing on the cake is that they steal the Drake, and this puts T1 in a position to win.
The fact that they are able to win this losing game off of this one play makes it the best play of the week. Now I wanted to talk to you about the current meta in the LCK. You know, we've seen a lot of high action champions, we've seen a lot of good moments, but one thing we're seeing all the time is Ezreal, especially against Aphelios.
Yeah, and in week 1, it definitely didn't go so well. I believe it was at a 1-8 at one point as far as Ezreal win rate. And Ezreal's being prioritized. That's a really interesting thing. So obviously in scrims, the Ezreal's working out into the Aphelios, but when it comes down to brass tacks, when we get to LoL Park, things aren't necessarily working out for the Ezreal. And I think that Ezreal does have a lot of gears that he can offer a team. Has a lot more flexibility, fits into a lot more different drafts. But unfortunately, our LCK teams are drafting right into what Aphelios wants to do, especially in week 1. And now that week 2 is in the books, we're seeing that the Ezreal win rate is coming up because teams are learning how to deal with it. And there are multiple different ways that we've seen from many different teams.
And talking about low win rates, actually, there is another champion that sticks out. And it's going to be Graves, who's only had 1 victory in both weeks so far.
Yeah, I feel like the Graves priority is an interesting one. I feel like he's picked to stop champions like Trundle, who want to fit into compositions that want to play for late game. And Graves is all about denial in the early game, and a tendency for a lot of our LCK teams is to play a little bit more slowly, and therefore, yeah, the Trundle pick will come out ahead in the end.
Well, you're familiar with LCK teams, their tendencies, and how they've grown across these years, so we thought we'd put together a little pop quiz for you.
I'm a little frightened.
We do have a series of audio clips prepared for you of team comms within the LCK.
Chobra, do you know my level of Korean knowledge?
You just have to guess who's talking, and if you get at least 2 right, we got a special prize.
All right, I have been listening to them, haven't been understanding them. However, I think I can probably get 2.
Let's jump right into it.
Bring it on.
Now remember, there is a prize on the line, so you have to try your best. And let me explain some extra rules.
Okay.
After we play the clip, you can guess once. If you don't get it correctly, you have a choice of either a hint from me, and I am on your side, or you can listen to the clip one more time before your final guess.
Okay, I think I know the rules. Let's go, let's get started.
All right, let's play it.
Round 1.
이거 빵택 아래쪽으로 가야 얘가 나올 것 같은데? 나온다. 나이스! 나이스! 야야야! 라인 건드렸네.
Now, I've heard a lot of Naisus in my time. But it's very hard to identify exactly which one belongs to which player. It's very hard. I think I'm gonna have to go with a hint. Can I go with a hint?
You want a hint?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Not a replay, I wanna go with a hint.
All right, the hint is,
Okay.
you commentated this game, and this moment happened very early on.
Commentated this game because I can hear the champion.
Okay.
So I know it's happening in the mid lane. I know it's Twisted Fate versus Lissandra, and I'm trying to remember who is playing which dang champion. Oh God. I know that's a lot of Fly.
Fly? Does Fly ever yell that much? Come on, Atlus, let's be honest.
Okay, maybe that was it.
It was none other than Kuzan.
Oh my God.
And it was when they got that level 1 kill.
Yep, and it was Kuzan that played Lissandra.
나이스! 나이스! 야.
Dang it. Dang it.
It's okay, you still have a couple more.
I threw away one that I could have done though.
But now you're getting used to the game.
That's true. That's true, but I don't know whether we're going to get a freebie like that again. So let's play the next one. I'm sorry, Kuzan.
Okay, here's the next one.
Round 2.
Okay, so I'm going to guess Damwon first.
Very close.
How can it be close? If I got the whole team wrong, then it's just as far away from any other team.
Not correct, but very close. Would you like a hint?
No, it was Gen.G.
Ah, you picked up on the hint. I tried to be on your side, I told you.
Nailed it. That's 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2, boys. Let's go. All right, I'm feeling in the zone. Let's do it. Let's nail it first shot. Yep.
Round 3.
안에 좀 안 좋아. 야. 안에 개피, 모대 개피. 야, 좋은데.
All right. Do I want it to be replayed, or do I want to hint? Is going to be my question. All right, I'll take a hint.
Let's take a hint. This player was prominently featured in the opening for the LCK.
Prominently featured.
Prominent, eminent, distinguished above others.
there was one player that was prominently featured, and I'm not sure whether it's him. I feel like I might be getting tricked. Prominently featured? This is a game with a Mordekaiser, so it could have been T1 versus Afrika, which means that it could have been Faker. And he is prominently featured in the opening. Deductive reasoning states, I'm going to go with Faker for this one.
Maybe the hint was too easy. It was Faker when he's caught inside the Mordekaiser.
You know what the best part of this? I'm dodging the entire actual thing because I'm so bad at actually recognizing the...
I'll make the hints harder. I
okay.
wasn't sure.
All right.
So you get to have our special prize. It's a small little something.
Oh, thank you so much. Look at this, T1 beanie. I already have the T1 hoodie. All I'm missing are some pants. So my full T1 uniform is a little bit risque.
Oh, well, you know what? We'll see if we can get something together next time if you come on the show again. A harder quiz. And see if we can get some T1 pants.
All right, fantastic. As long as it's no more listening exercises. Because I don't know whether that's my forte, unfortunately.
So I wanted to ask you about franchising coming to the LCK. There's been a lot of discussions and, even the fans have quite a few opinions, but what's your take?
Franchising is a really interesting topic because we've seen it work across the world, right? LEC, LCS, LPL, all of them have franchise leagues now, and it has added some stability, things like that. But I'm a bit old school, I came from the OPL where we had promotions and relegations, and I then came to the LCK where we're still doing it the same way as well. And it's kind of cool to have these new faces coming up into the league. We've recently had Team Dynamics. Before that was APK Prince, now Solo One Prince. We've had lots of teams sort of like cycle through. Like we wouldn't have seen Dom ones come through. We wouldn't have seen Sandbox. Like even Griffin, who have now been and gone. There are a lot of names that now mean something to a lot of us as fans. But I do think what the LCK has been missing is that stability that the franchising adds, right? And a lot of the criticism for LCK teams is that they don't take enough risks. Well, sometimes risks can lead you to not being in the league anymore.
So LCK fans, I've seen a lot of fans kind of voice their opinion on the opposite side of that. Like you mentioned, the storylines and the drama that comes from promotions and that excitement. But you think this could actually potentially lead to more exciting games?
It could potentially. And I think that a lot of these teams are going to be more willing to take some risks if they know that the worst thing that can happen is that they're going to have to reshuffle and grab some of their academy players and put them up forward. I think it also does help nurture new players making their way in because it does establish these academy rosters that we've seen across the world working out quite well at the same time. I mean, there are definitely some setbacks, right? There are so many huge names here in the LCK. I think Korea is super rich when it comes to the amount of organizations that want to be a part in the LCK. You saw how many teams have signed up to get a franchise spot. I think it's 21 or something like that. And you go down all of those names and you're like, it makes sense that they're looking for a spot here in the LCK. There are a couple of outliers, but I'm looking at 17 teams that I'm I'd be totally cool with these guys being LCK teams. And that makes it really, really hard to pick who's actually going to be that spot. So I can understand why people do have inhibitions, but thinking on behalf of the players and on behalf of the health of the league itself, I think that franchising will help the LCK become more competitive in the future.
Well, let's be honest, Atlus, we could talk forever about franchising, and it is a ways away, so we've got some time. What I'm really excited about right now is T1 versus Gen.G coming up next week. So let's take a look at the schedule for the Week 3 matches. Kicking off the week, it's going to be T1 versus Damwon Gaming.
And that is going to be a super hype matchup. It goes into a Thursday with DRX versus Team Dynamics, a team that really does need to prove itself. And then we have the big one on Friday. That spring final rematch, Gen.G versus T1. Gen.G looking for some revenge after that particular final. And then the last match that I want to look at is KT versus Afrika, because that battle for 5th could be between these two teams if Dynamics are going to be made to feel a little bit more honest after their match against DRX.
Okay, well, there's definitely a lot of matches once again to look forward to. Which one are you most excited for?
I know the obvious answer is going to be T1 versus Gen.G, but don't worry guys, it is still a T1 game. It's just the first one. I think T1 versus Damwon is going to be really, really important this week because Damwon were able to upset T1 at MSC. This sort of led to a bit of a downfall, also led to a little bit of reformation, I feel, in the LCK, and having that be that catalyst, and now we get to finally see that match happen again here in the LCK for 2020 Summer, I think is going to be really important. Plus for momentum moving into that Gen.G match. I mean, T1's week is not looking easy, but if they can come out on top, it's going to be absolutely huge.
This does look like it could be one of the defining weeks for the summer rankings. And I want to ask, if you had to put a theme to week 3, what would it be the week of?
I think I'd probably call it the week of answers. Because we're going to be finding out a lot about where these teams truly sit in the rankings. DRX up against Team Dynamics. Are Team Dynamics going to be the team we're expecting? Who's better out of T1 and Gen.G at this point in the season? And is Damwon actually up to snuff up against T1? There are a lot of things we're going to find out this week.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the show, Atlus.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you everyone at home, and thank you, Chobra.
Of course, for all of you watching, make sure to catch all the LCK matches with Atlus this week. If you like the show, click that like button and make sure to subscribe right here on T1 Fighting for everything LCK. Also, let us know down below in the comments who are your favorite player comms to listen to. With that, we'll see you next week.